Chapter 10. The classroom air is thick with anticipation as Lieutenant Vega stands at the front, her presence commanding attention. Combat skills are fundamental, she begins, her voice echoing through the room. But they are just the beginning. Strategy, planning, and execution are what truly define an elite operative. Glancing around, I can't help but notice the empty seats, stark reminders of those who lost at the combat challenges. Each vacant chair speaks volumes about the radical selection process we're undergoing, where each test ruthlessly weeds out more of us from the selection. Vega continues, her words sharp and precise. Your next test is not just about physical prowess. It's about your ability to think, to adapt, to overcome challenges in high-pressure scenarios. Jack and I exchange a brief look, a silent understanding forming between us. We both know this is our chance to prove ourselves beyond the combat ring. Vega unveils the details of the test, a simulated mission in a desolate part of the city outskirts. Our objective: infiltrate a secure facility camouflaged among the ruins, retrieve sensitive data, and exfiltrate without detection. The scenario is complex, requiring a blend of tactical thinking, combat readiness, and hacking expertise. The facility is heavily guarded, equipped with surveillance and traps. Your approach will need to be meticulously planned and executed with precision, Vega warns, his gaze sweeping over our group. Navigating this maze of ruins to locate the facility will be a challenge in itself, not to mention the need to penetrate this hidden fortress and extract data from the system, all while avoiding patrols, motion detectors, and any other obstacles that stand in your way. This test is more than just a training exercise, it's a trial by fire. In the lingering silence after Lieutenant Vega's briefing, I turn to Jack, my heart pounding with a mix of anxiety and determination. We should team up for this, I blurt out, my words tumbling over each other. The rules don't say we can't, and together we could be stronger. We complement each other's skills. He looks at me, his face a mask of inscrutability. I hold my breath, unsure of his response. Finally, he leans back, a faint smirk playing on his lips. All right, he agrees, his tone casual yet decisive. We'll team up, but don't slow me down. His remark, both confident and challenging, ignites a spark of determination within me. I nod resolutely. As we exit the classroom, I can't help but feel a surge of excitement. Teaming up with Jack, despite his warnings, feels right. Our combined strengths could truly lead us to success. Hidden in a quiet corner of the training center's planning room, Jack and I huddle over a large screen displaying the map of the test zone. I feel uneasy, aware of the tension lingering between us. In front of me, my computer scrolls through lines of code I just programmed, searching for thermal signatures in the test area. Here, in the northeast, under this collapsed building, there's activity. We should attack from the north, disguised as officials, I say, pointing at the screen, rather proud of my plan. Jack peers over my shoulder. He shakes his head, adamant. That's too direct. They'll spot us right away. We need to be smarter. We'll go through the ventilation system. I frown, skeptical. The ventilation system? That's the first place they'll check. It's too obvious. He sighs, impatience creeping into his voice. We can sneak in through there, jam their radars. There are no cameras on the blueprint. His logic is sound, but something doesn't sit right with me. I challenge him. I don't buy it. Leaving the ventilation system without video surveillance? That's not believable. And how do you plan on making us look like officials? He asks, incredulous. Fake badges, I retort with a wink. Looks easy enough to replicate, and at least we have a chance of blending in without being detected. He leans back, arms crossed, a thoughtful expression on his face. If your plan fails, we'll be trapped with no escape route. The ventilation system at least gives us a way out. I bite my lip, considering his argument. My mind races with possibilities, risks. Finally, I reluctantly acquiesce. Okay, let's prepare for both scenarios. We'll make the decision on the spot, based on what we see. He nods, a grudging respect in his eyes. Agreed. As we delve into the details of our plan, we assess each potential trap, every possible surveillance system. The glow of my laptop screen stings my tired eyes, but I keep them wide open. I'm on a mission, a covert operation that demands both stealth and speed. My fingers fly across the keyboard, navigating through layers of digital security with practiced ease. I feel a rush of adrenaline as I infiltrate the personnel files. Wow, that wasn't even as hard as I thought it would be. It seems their employee data is about as well protected as a cake recipe. My lucky day. As I dive into employee records, I search for faces, identities that could be our key to entering the facility unnoticed. I need to find someone, anyone, who vaguely resembles either Jack or me. There's no room for error. Photos flash by. Let's see. Too old, too short, too fat. Bingo! After several tense minutes, I stumble upon a file. A woman, roughly my age, with similar features. Not an exact match, but close enough to pass at a quick glance. I quickly replicate her badge, ensuring every detail is meticulously copied. Same goes for Jack. I find a male employee who shares a resemblance to his rugged features. I transfer the badges to our communicators, which emit a satisfying ping upon receiving them. I lean back for a moment, taking a deep breath. It's a risky move, relying on the hope of not running into these individuals face to face, but it's a risk we have to take. My gaze shifts to Jack, who is deeply engrossed in analyzing the ventilation system blueprints. His concentration is intense, his eyebrows furrowed in thought. Time is of the essence. The bus that will take us to the outskirts will be leaving soon, and I want to gather as much intel as possible on the situation. I can't help but feel this childish excitement. It's like I'm a high-stakes burglar, ready to outsmart the most sophisticated security systems to pull off the heist of the century. The idea of infiltrating their hidden fortress, stealing their secrets, it's a challenge that sends shivers down my spine. I'm the heroine of my own action movie. This is so not me. I don't even recognize myself. Suddenly, Drake's snide voice cuts through the air, interrupting our focused work. Look at the odd couple, busy pretending, he mocks, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Taryn, always ready to join in, chimes in, Yeah, what is this, a classroom? You gonna give us a lecture on infiltration theories on that laptop? It's time for action, bookworms. Time to step out the door. Time to move. Just what we needed. I feel anger rising within me, my hands pausing above the keyboard. Beside me, I sense Jack's body tense, his jaw clenching. Oh no, don't engage in this altercation, they're just waiting for it. For a brief moment, I consider intervening, but I realize it would only fuel their taunts. Instead, I place a hand on Jack's, hoping he understands my message. With my other hand, I continue navigating my screen, trying to block out their mocking tones. I feel Jack relax, and I release a sigh of relief. Drake and Taryn's laughter fades into the background as Jack and I resume our work. Our partnership, initially formed out of necessity, now feels like a united front against the challenges and criticisms we face. Together, we are not just two individuals with a plan, we are a team with a goal. Just what we needed. I feel anger rise within me, my hands pausing above the keyboard. Beside me, I feel Jack's body tense, his jaw clench. Oh no, don't engage, they're just looking for a fight. For a brief moment, I consider intervening, but then I realize it would only fuel their taunts. Instead, I place a hand on Jack's, hoping he'll get the message. With my other hand, I continue to navigate my screen, trying to block out their mocking tones. I feel Jack relax, and I breathe a sigh of relief. Drake and Taryn's laughter fades into the background as Jack and I resume our work. Our partnership, initially formed out of necessity, now feels like a united front against the challenges and criticisms we face. Together, we aren't just two individuals with a plan. We are a team with a purpose. It's time to leave. We, the remaining trainees, are rounded up and crammed into buses whose engines roar to life. We're headed towards the city's outskirts. As the urban landscape shrinks behind us, a world of ruins unfolds before our eyes. In the daylight, everything appears more intense, more detailed than in the images from my night escapade in the undergrounds. Once grand structures are now mere skeletons, their facades charred and their interiors exposed to the elements. We disembark in the northern sector, a choice Jack and I agreed upon after much deliberation. The area is a maze of decay and overgrowth, a haunted echo of a long-forgotten world. Navigating this no-man's land is a challenge in itself, the uneven ground littered with debris and nature aggressively reclaiming what once belonged to man. I find myself struggling to keep up with Jack, my shorter legs straining to clear remnants of collapsed walls and twisted metal. Ivy crawls along fractured walls, and trees force their way through concrete floors. Every step we take is a calculated risk, the instability of the ruins a constant threat. I feel my muscles burn, my breath coming in ragged gasps as I push myself to continue. The intensity of this environment surpasses any obstacle course training we've endured, each movement a battle against the physical obstacles and the oppressive atmosphere of desolation. The weight of my backpack, laden with our hacking and survival gear, pulls on my shoulders. Each step feels heavier, each breath more labored, but I keep going, fueled by determination and adrenaline. Jack moves with a purposeful stride, his familiarity with such harsh environments evident in his confident gait. I follow, pushing through the burn in my legs, the cuts and scrapes from sharp edges, and the unsettling feeling of being watched. As we approach our designated location, my legs tremble with exertion, but there's no time to rest. The eerie silence of the area is punctuated only by my labored breaths and the distant sound of other trainees navigating their own paths. We're here, facing the location we've identified as the secured facility to infiltrate. Before us stands a concrete behemoth, scarred with cracks and partially concealed by creeping vines. There are no apparent doors or windows. Jack and I decide to split up, each searching for a possible entrance. One moment, I'm scanning the decrepit concrete for a hidden badge reader. The next, I'm slammed to the ground, the wind knocked out of me. Drake stands over me, a triumphant sneer twisting his face. Beside him, Taryn, knife in hand, her eyes gleaming with malice. Panic floods me. This is definitely not part of the test. Drake's voice cuts through the tense air, icy and sharp. There you are, little know-it-all. You're an abomination to the Academy. You make us look weak. My response is swift, laced with defiance. Screw you, Drake. Mind your own business. Drake's voice suddenly turns honeyed, as if speaking to a child. We can't let you continue. You can't join the force, become our teammate. You'll make a mockery of us all. We can't let that happen. Taryn punctuates his words with a sarcastic laugh. Taryn stands over me, her tone menacing. Let's neutralize her. Fear consumes me. I swallow hard, trying to wet my parched throat, my eyes darting between Drake and Taryn. Anticipating their next move, I try to scramble away, but Drake's heavy boot pins me down. Taryn lunges forward, her knife aimed at my chest. Instinctively, I throw myself to the side, the blade grazing my arm. A sharp pain shoots through me. Adrenaline pumps through my veins, masking the fear with a desperate need to survive. Jack! I scream, my voice hoarse with terror. Drake's hand wraps around my throat, cutting off the air to my lungs. I kick, I struggle, I do everything to break free, but he's too strong, too heavy. Spots dance before my eyes, my lungs burn. I'm gonna pass out. No! I have to stay conscious. The bitter taste of fear fills my mouth, but no sound comes out. Suddenly, there's a blur of movement. Or did I imagine it? No, it's Jack. He appears like an avenging specter, his face a mask of rage. With a swift, powerful motion, he rips Drake off of me. I gasp in much-needed oxygen. The two men crash into the rubble, a tangle of strength and fury. Taryn, momentarily surprised, shifts her attention from me, giving me a precious moment to recover, to think. I scramble to my feet, clutching my bleeding arm, the pain now a searing reality. But I can't focus on my wound. Drake is down. Taryn and Jack are now locked in a fierce struggle, a deadly dance of fists and blades. Taryn is relentless, her attacks fueled by years of pent-up aggression. But Jack is something else. His movements are calculated, precise, a deadly combination of skill and raw power. The fight seems to go on forever, each second stretching into infinity. My heart pounds, my eyes fixed on the glinting blade. In a frantic attempt, Taryn, driven by desperation, repeatedly tries to stab Jack, but her efforts are futile against his skillful maneuvers. Realizing her attempts are fruitless, Taryn, in a last-ditch effort, throws her knife with force. The blade, released with reckless aim, whistles through the air and finds a new target. Me. I don't see it coming, I only feel the sharp, burning pain in my side. A scream rips from my throat, a horrified mix of shock and pure agony. In a surge of primal instinct mixed with a rush of adrenaline, my fingers clamp onto the handle of the knife protruding from my flesh. Gritting my teeth against the unbearable torment, I muster all my strength to yank it from my body. A long, shrill cry escapes my lips as the cold metal comes free, leaving a trail of fire in its wake. Blood gushes out, hot and insistent, staining the ground red. I fall to my knees. The world around me turns hazy, the soundtrack ripped away. The The sounds of fighting, the shouts and the impact of blows fade, replaced by a dull, incessant ringing. Everything blurs, colors merging into an indistinct canvas of movement and light. I press my hand against the gaping wound, desperately trying to stem the bleeding, to push back the onslaught of darkness threatening to engulf me. Blood seeps through my trembling fingers, each heartbeat amplifying the pain and tipping my world on the razor's edge. Shadows dance before my eyes, the pain swallowing me into its bottomless depth. The world is a haze of pain and confusion, but through the fog of my suffering, I witness a scene that will forever be etched into my memory. Jack, his face a mask of controlled fury, stands between me and our attackers. Drake is back on his feet, swaying. Taryn glares at me with a malicious grin as I lie on the ground. He hesitates for a moment. That split second seals his fate. Jack lunges forward, a whirlwind of deadly precision. Taryn tries to dodge, but he's too slow. Jack's hands find Taryn's neck. There's a moment of struggle, a battle of wills and strength, then a distinct sound that will haunt me forever, the sickening crack of vertebrae snapping. Taryn's body crumples to the ground with a thud. Everything stills. I feel no pain, no fear. Time seems to have stopped. I scream, my hand flying to my mouth, the metallic taste of blood mingling with shock. The finality of the act hangs heavy in the air. I know Taryn won't get up, that he's gone forever, his life snatched away by Jack's hands. I'm on the ground, pain radiating anew from my wounds. Jack stands over Taryn's body. His eyes are not filled with shock or horror, but with terrifying ferocity. Any trace of compassion or remorse is absent, replaced by a wild, predatory gleam. Drake recoils, seized with terror. His eyes, wide with fear, sweep over the scene of Jack standing over Taryn's lifeless body, then back to Jack with horror. Overwhelmed by panic, he turns sharply and flees through the ruins. Jack's eyes fall on me, the fury giving way to cold, calculated focus. His steps towards me are swift and sure. He crouches beside me. In this moment, he's no longer the trainee I trained with. He's a warrior forged by a ruthless world, a survivor in a world of darkness. "Stay with me, Eva," he says, his voice steady, betraying no sign of the tragedy that just unfolded. He assesses my wound with clinical detachment, his hands surprisingly gentle as he applies pressure to stop the bleeding. As he works, his face is a mask of concentration. There's no room for doubt or hesitation in his actions. I wince in pain, but my mind races. The Jack I thought I knew evaporates like an elusive mist. This Jack is a creature of instinct and action, a ruthless executioner, unfazed by death. He's a survivor, hewn from the raw rock of hell, shaped by the unforgiving demands of the abyss. Without a word, he lifts me. I find myself cradled in his arms, the world swaying around me as he moves with a determined stride. Each movement, it intensifies the pain, a brutal reminder of my fragility. The realization that he's abandoning the test for me sends a complex wave of emotions through my muddled mind. In this moment, our objectives, our training, even the looming shadow of the Consortium, all fade into insignificance. The journey back to the rendezvous point blurs into a fog of pain and confusion. Jack's footsteps echo, steady, but his breathing betrays a growing tension. As we approach the extraction zone, the truth dawns with chilling clarity. The mission, our test, Taryn's lifeless body lying on the ground, it was all supposed to be a simulation. What does this horror mean for us now? Jack has just killed with his own hands. What will be the consequences? Unconsciousness begins to envelop me, pulling me towards a dark abyss. The blackness welcomes me, a cruel respite from this spiral of pain and confusion. But even in this darkness, the questions continue to haunt me, insidious specters refusing to fade away.
Did this story captivate you? Help this book find its place in the vast world of literature. Share your thoughts. Leave a review on Goodreads. Your support means everything. Link in the description. For just the price of a coffee, you can dive into the full audiobook and support my journey as an author. Every contribution truly means the world to me and keeps this adventure alive. The link to the audiobook on Kobo is in the description of this video. Thank you so much for your support.